I have an addiction, and before anyone starts organizing an intervention, let me be very clear. Today we're talking about my favorite thing, shoes. Not a serious addiction, it's just shoes and heels and closet math, emotional support footwear. The kind of problem where the only 12-step program I'm interested in involves 12 steps across the room and really great heels. Before we get started, I want to share something with you. I created a free, still standing quiz online for anyone who has ever looked at their life and thought, well, this is definitely not how I pictured things going. Maybe you're in survival mode. Maybe you're rebuilding. Maybe you don't even know what mode you're in. And you've just gotten really good at saying, I'm fine. Well, you don't even know what's going to happen next, or even what next step to take. This quiz is perfect because it'll help you figure out where you are in the messy middle and what kind of support you can actually get to move forward. It's not fake positivity or fluffy inspirational stuff. It's just a little clarity when life feels confusing. You can take the free quiz at stepintomyshoeshere.com/quiz. You're not broken. You're just finding your footing in the chapter you didn't choose and where to move next. Hi, I have an addiction. My name is Diane and I am addicted to shoes, specifically heels. I have over 100 pairs of them. I know, embarrassing, but not embarrassing. And that's just the heels. That doesn't include my tennis shoes, any boots, flip-flops, dog walking shoes, snow boots, because those don't count as boots, sandals, backup heels, shoes that I wear in the airport, shoes I bought for one event, or a pair that I rediscovered in the back of the closet like buried treasure. Because apparently in my house, in my closet, shoes do not simply exist. They have categories, and they have assignments, and they have emotional support roles. Of course, then there's work heels, heels that I can wear to work and still look fashionable, even though people make fun of me for wearing heels all the time. I have heels that I wear to dinner when I go on a dinner date with Sean. I have heels that make my life feel really put together. I have don't F with me heels. Like, I'm in this mood, I've got these heels on, do not say anything about my outfit. I have funeral home heels. Yes, I have heels that I've only worn to funerals. They're black, of course, and they're plain, and they're totally acceptable. I have the heels from my wedding that I've tried to wear a couple times. They are a light blue. It was my something blue. I have shoes that can be worn only from the car to the dinner table when we go out, and absolutely nowhere else, because she's so beautiful and she's one of a kind. I don't want to get her scuffed up. And if you think all black heels are the same, this episode might be challenging for you, because my clothes support the shoes, not the other way around. But here's the thing. This episode is not really about shoes. It's about the reason Step Into My Shoes, the book, became more than a title. It became a way of seeing people. Because shoes can be so beautiful and yet still hurt. And people are the same way. Let me start with a number, because apparently we are choosing honesty today. I own over 100 pairs of heels. Yes, over 100. I'm being honest. And let me tell you that that's just the heels. And I need that entered into evidence, because people who love to hear a number like that immediately start clutching their minimalist pearls. Well, how many feet do you have? 2, Karen, but thank you for your concern. Well, I never heard such a thing of 100 pairs of shoes. Well, listen up. I understand to some people that a shoe is just a shoe. Protection from gravel. A thing that laces. A socially acceptable foot container? That's fine. We need these people in the world, right? They're probably saving money and making better closet decisions than I am. For me, shoes have always been the punctuation. They finish the sentence. They change the mood. They can take the exact same outfit from I am running errands to I may be accepting an award or confronting someone in the parking lot. Shoes speak before you do. A red heel says something different than a nude pump. A wedge said something different than a stiletto. A boot says, I have plans and possibly boundaries. And a sneaker says, I'm trying to be reasonable today, so please don't test me. And then there are these heels that only exist because they made me feel something in the store. You know those shoes. You put them on and suddenly your posture changes. Your shoulders go back, your reflection gets a little more confident, and you start making eye contact with yourself in the mirror like, oh, there she is. Do they always feel good after 45 minutes? Or an hour or two? Absolutely not, but emotionally, they're doing their most important work. I have shoes I bought because they were practical, which is practical is definitely a word women use when we are trying to make a purchase that sounds less emotional. I have shoes I bought because they were on sale, which is not the same as saving money, but it does require its own spreadsheet of justification. I have shoes I bought for weddings, work events, date nights, vacations, specific interviews, special dinners, and imaginary future occasions that I expected to become this type of woman who occasionally needed a little bit of a navy blue with metallic in it heel on a Tuesday. And I actually wore those to work one day. And I have the heels that I keep because they belong to a version of me that I'm not ready to release. And that's where it just gets very interesting in my world. Because a closet is not just a closet. A closet is a personal archive. It's a museum of who we've been, who we hope to be, and who we pretend to be, and what we've survived, and who we're still trying to become. And you can learn a lot about women by the shoes she keeps. You can learn a lot from a woman by looking in her closet and seeing the shoes that she keeps. Not because shoes tell everything, but because they hold memory. They hold the rooms that she walked in, very nervous, or maybe even excited. They hold the nights that she wanted to feel beautiful on a date. They hold the jobs that she tried to prove herself in. She wore these shoes in weddings and funerals and first dates, holidays, graduations, hospital hallways, and parking lots where she sat for a minute before going in. They hold the chapter. Which is why step into my shoes was never just a cute phrase for me. Yes, I love shoes. We've established that. And the prosecution case was very strong. But step into my shoes was not about admiring the outside. It's about understanding the walk. Because from the outside, a pair of shoes can look very polished. They can look expensive and bold. They can even look impractical, which I have a lot of those. They can look like the person wearing them has it all together. But once you step into those shoes, the truth changes. Maybe they pinch a little. Maybe they're carrying blisters that no one sees. Maybe they look confident but feel unstable. Maybe they were worn into a room where someone received news they never wanted. Or maybe the shoes stood in a funeral or in a kitchen and paced around at 2 a.m. Maybe they walked into a doctor's office, a courtroom, a new job, a goodbye, a beginning, a life split, and didn't even know it. Maybe they carried someone through the day that they did not even know how to survive. That is the part we miss when we judge from the outside. We see the outfit. We see the smile. We see the woman that looks fine. We see the polished version of her. What we don't always see is the road that got her to this point. And I think that's why this idea matters to me so much. Because I know what it looks like to be fine and not to be fine. I know what it looks like to be strong and still need support. I know what it looks like to look put together while some part of your life is quietly on the floor in a million pieces. And I've walked through grief and divorce and breast cancer, loss, reinvention, and all these rude chapters that have happened in my life that I did not ask permission to write. And I also know what it's like to put on a good pair of shoes and think, okay, I can at least stand up. I got this. Sometimes that's where the healing begins. Not because the shoes save you. Please, they're leather, they're not therapy. But because sometimes an external thing helps you access an internal truth. It might help you access courage or identity or a little, hey, I'm still here. It might be shaky, but I'm not going barefoot into this nonsense. That's for sure. So here's what this episode is really about. It's not about the number of shoes in my closet, although that number is apparently doing its own podcast tour, for sure. And it's not about convincing you that over 100 pair of heels is reasonable, although I do feel some of you are already on my side and really appreciate what I'm saying. It's about perspective and empathy and remembering that everyone is walking through something you may not understand from where you are standing, even if you've been through it. Let me repeat that. Even if you've been through it. I'm talking grief, divorce, loss, anything that you can think of that your life would split. Your story is not her story. We are quick to look at someone else's outside and build the whole story. We're so quick to do that. We're quick to say, oh, she's confident even though she went through that. Oh, she's fine. My sister did that. She went through that last year. Oh, she's being dramatic. Or she's cold. Or she should be over that by now. Like that's way too long to be still thinking about that. But the outside is a terrible narrator. The outside skips chapters. And it doesn't know or show the blisters that you have. And the outside doesn't show what it costs someone to keep walking. And that is the invitation behind the step into my shoes. Not just look at my life. I didn't write the step into my shoes book for people to look at what I've done. It was more like come closer to understand before you decide to know. To really know. And that's where empathy begins. It's not in judgment or assumptions. It's not in a neat little story we make up because it's easier than asking a better question. Empathy begins when we pause long enough to wonder what someone else has walked through. So stop being so quick to look at someone else's outside and build that story in your head and continue moving on, especially if it's somebody in your family or a friend. If you know this person, you should be asking right after this podcast, how can I help? So here's the still standing lesson for today. I always have to do that. Every pair of shoes has a story, just like every person has a story. A woman can be wearing that bold heel and still be very afraid to take the next step. She can be wearing a sensible shoe and still be taking a risk, even though everything looks all comfy and cozy. She can be wearing a beautiful shoe that hurts, because sometimes we do that in fashion and in life. We choose what looks good, and then we later realize that it wasn't even supporting us. There's no judgment. We have all dated a shoe that did not deserve us, right? The point is, before we judge the walk, we have to remember there's a story inside the shoe that's true for other people and it's true for us. Sometimes we judge our own walk. We look back and think, why did I stay? Why did I even say yes? Why didn't I notice all those red flags? Why did I just keep ignoring it? Why do I think that I could handle it? And why did I not know better? Maybe they don't fit anymore and they're too painful to put back on. Maybe they were chosen by an older version of you. Maybe they were handed to you by expectation or fear or survival. Any of those chapters that you didn't choose. And maybe part of becoming is realizing that you're allowed to take them off. Take those effing shoes off. You're allowed to choose a different pair. You're allowed to stop performing comfort in something that's still hurting you. And you're allowed to stand differently now. So here's just a reset that I want you to take from this episode. And I'm just going to call it a shoe check. Number 1, notice the shoe. What role are you wearing right now? The strong one, the fixer, the good girl, the professional, the survivor, the woman who says she's fine because that's easier than explaining the whole road. Number 2, ask what it has carried. What has this version of you walked through? What have you survived, protected, hidden, managed, and held together like Elmer's glue? Fit. Number 3, is this way of standing still supporting you? Or is it pinching the crap out of you? Is it helping you move forward? Or are you keeping it because it once made sense? And number 4, choose one honest step. You don't have to overhaul your whole life by the weekend. You can loosen the strap and choose the shoe, tell the truth, and ask for help. You can rest. You can say no. You can say yes. And take one step that supports the woman who you want to become now. That's the work. It's not judging the old shoes or shaming the road. It's just noticing what still fits and what does not. So here's a reflection question for you. What story would people never know from the shoes you have had to walk in? And maybe the follow-up to this is, what pair of shoes are you ready to stop wearing because it no longer supports who you are becoming? Sit with that one. Write it down. And if the answer comes while you are organizing your closet, please know that counts as emotional work and household productivity. We love a 2-for-1 healing moment, don't we? You know what makes hard chapters even harder in life. It's feeling like you're the only person who didn't get the instruction manual. Still Standing membership is a place for real women navigating real life without the pressure to look polished while doing it. You'll find encouragement and practical tools, honest conversations, and a community that understands the messy middle. Come as you are, tired, hopeful, confused, rebuilding, or all four at the same time. Learn more about the membership at stepintomyshoeshere.com.